Welcome to Andrew Cardno Online, where data meets decision-making in the world of gaming and beyond. Each episode, your host, Andrew Cardno, renowned innovator, technologist, and data plumber, dives into the insights, trends, and strategies shaping the future of casinos, enterprises, and digital transformation. Whether you're a leader, regulator, or data enthusiast, you'll find fresh perspectives and actionable ideas right here. Don't forget to visit andrewcardno.com for exclusive content, resources, and more. Now let's join Andrew for today's conversation.
Well, hi, I'm Andrew Cardno with Andrew Cardno Online. I'm here today with Jesse Robles, and we're going to talk about the importance of food and beverage, and there's something really big that Jesse's managed to pull off with food and beverage, a big event coming up, and by the end of today, I hope you know all about it and why it's important. And so Jesse, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and, and your passion for food and beverage?
Thanks, Andrew. Thanks for having me on today. Yes, my name is Jesse Robles. I am the founder and editor of foodandgaming.com. So we're a food and beverage publication focusing on the business, science, and economics of casino food and beverage. Before that, I was working with Victor Rocha and Pachanga.net as executive editor, so aggregating news for the industry. And, over time, realized that really nobody was talking to casino food and beverage. A lot of food and beverage departments were recreating the wheel. And oftentimes within properties, the marketing, finance, ops, and F&B weren't talking to each other. So I started foodandgaming.com and asked IGA if they would be willing to bring back some of that food and beverage content.
So just to make sure I got this right, foodandgaming.com.
Correct.
That is cool. I'm going to make sure I check it out.
Thank you. Yes, it's a directory. It's a news website. I like to think of it as like a Bloomberg for casino food and beverage. I came to age on a Bloomberg terminal and fell in love with, the way that you can get data and the interconnectedness of news and business and really what makes the world run. And so I thought it was lacking in casino food and beverage. I think it deserves its own level of academia and rigor. Casino restaurants are way different than your regular restaurants. And so, yeah, I'm really grateful. IGA has agreed. We're starting this year with 6 sessions on the trade show floor.
6 sessions, really?
Yes. So
Wow.
It's going to be an F&B showcase talking about everything from robotics in kitchens, use of AI.
I'm going to come back to you on that one because robots, I'm fascinated by them. I kept saying to people, this is going to be the year of robots. So can we put a pin in that one? I want to come back to it.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's really exciting, talking about also the talent pipeline and making sure that we are doing everything we can to retain our employees, but more importantly, trying to elevate the thought of food and beverage from an amenity to a real revenue driver. And that's really the focus, is that there's so much going on right now between illegal event wagering and online gaming, and so many threats to the brick and mortar casino industry, that we really need to focus on, I think, on our food and beverage and our hospitality and integrating all of those business centers so that we can differentiate ourselves and keep people coming back, because quite frankly, there's less and less, fewer and fewer reasons.
That's right. Wow, these people liked experiences, right? And I think what we eat is one of the most important experiences, literally every day. Like, we all do it. It is special. But what got you into food and beverage, Jesse?
Well, like you said, we all eat. We all love to eat. And looking at the casinos, and before my work in media, I was doing consulting and saw kind of a recurring issue within casinos, that the departments within the casino don't talk to each other. So oftentimes food and beverage has ideas to, bring traffic and grow the department, but they have to rely on finance, on the GM and other departments to achieve those goals. And so I wanted to create a common language that these different departments can speak, right? F&B is usually more creative. How can we get F&B folks on the same page as finance folks to speak that same language? Realized we weren't talking about this anymore at G2E or IGA, and for several reasons that happened. But I'm really excited because I think it's the confluence of everything that's going on in the gaming industry. I think it's time for us to really focus back on hospitality and F&B.
Well, I think that the resort, one of the things I like to say about the resort is, people, when they go to a resort, they walk in and they see food and beverage and they see hotel and they see entertainment. They see all these things in the resort. And that's what they see, right? That's what your customers see. We evaluate them based on their casino. So we're communicating with them about the gaming product, and they're coming in for the resort product. It's like, and I'm looking at it, it's like two ships passing in the night. Like one group are coming in saying, I love this resort. I like the amenities here. The staff are so great. I feel really secure. It's got these great entertainers. It's got incredible food. I really like the restaurant. Like all sorts of reasons, right? And by the way, they often come into game. That's the people, and we send them a free play offer. It's like, or maybe some free food and beverage. We're communicating with them from what we did, I guess, when tribal gaming was coming from gaming into resorts. How's that, right? Like there's been this massive transformation. Different people at different stages, right? But generally into this resort. Food and beverage has been central. What do you think, when you look at food, what do you think are some of the key things that's made it really work so well? Because I think it's, like I go into a tribal gaming facility to all the beautiful places around San Diego here. I go to Palo, I've got great places. Sequan has got great places. Chunga's got great places. All incredible. And that's my view. What do you think has made it so successful? It's been successful. Like what? Why? Why have tribal nations invested so heavily in food and beverage? What's made this amazing success? Like, what is it?
Yeah. That's a great point, and I think it's uniquely in within tribal gaming, there are a couple kind of variables, right? It's the amenity that keeps people on property longer, and so it starts with the fryers and food court and kind of like your bowling alley food, and then all of a sudden in the 80s 90s started getting buffets and having kind of more opulent
That was
and
before my time, so I didn't see those ones.
well, and now buffets are gone, right? So I guess to answer your question, I think the
That's
focus.
true. That's
Yeah.
true. They have. Should they come back?
Well, this was interesting,
Oh,
and we're starting to see some casinos are coming back with buffets. Hamul Casino here in San Diego just opened up their Hamul 23, and
wow.
they're doing a full Monday through Sunday lobster buffet. They're doing two services. They start at 8 in the morning. There's already a line forming at 8.
8 in the morning
8 in the morning,
with lobster?
lobster 8
I got
a.m.
to
to
test this.
2 p.m. Yeah, definitely. I think
And
that.
Hamul. Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely. They've done an amazing work with, the space that they have is really just beautiful, stunning. The way you come out from the casino and they really transformed that space, and that just opened this past year, 25. But they brought back the buffet, and then there's some models like at Valley View where
And people are lining up in the
oh yeah,
morning?
I'll tell you, Valley View. I've seen up to 3-4 hour wait to get into the buffet, where people will wait in line to go to the buffet.
3 to 4 hours? That's terrible. That means they've got 3 to 4 hours of people in your property where they're not doing the other stuff because they're waiting on them. I
Well,
mean,
we
it's
hope they're
great that it's
gambling.
working so well. Right, it's working so well, but goodness, they need some queue management software. So, okay, 3 to 4, that is incredible that people would do that. And a lobster buffet, that's amazing. Do you think so here's my view, right? What I've seen in the data, this is what I see is when you start a casino with just gambling, it has a certain catchment around it. I don't know what you want to call it, 30 minutes. And it could be less, it could be more, but just I'll throw the number out there because it's incredibly variable depending on the market and everything else, but there's a catchment. The moment you start building the resort, like you build a hotel, it gets a lot bigger actually. You build food and beverage, it gets a lot bigger. And I think for the reason, like if you're going to somewhere that doesn't have great food and it's an hour's drive each way, you're investing 2 hours of drive and you probably only want to stay 3 hours. But if it's got somewhere where you can take a break, test the lobster buffet, right? That becomes 6 hours, and that's worthwhile. That's worth the 2 hour drive. And I've just observed in the numbers, right? People often ask, why is tribal gaming, Indian gaming going so well? Because I think it really is. It's amazing, and the nations are investing back in their facilities, making them even more beautiful and having more incredible experiences. And it's just increasing the catchment every time you do it. And I guess Hamul has probably just proven that. I don't know, proven it again. Do you agree with
Yeah,
that? You think
yeah,
that's
absolutely.
off? What do you think?
Well, absolutely, and like you said, I think the reason that Indian gaming and F&B tribal properties kind of stand out is because tribes understand kind of the importance of those non-gaming amenities and kind of that integrated hospitality, integrated resort experience. And so, I think San Diego makes for a really interesting case study because of the density and we're a relatively mature gaming market where pretty much everyone is operating a resort at this point. So you do run into that traffic conversion risk because you have the casinos that are very generous with, say, their hotel offers, right? Now they're competing for that hotel stay. And I've actually seen where, guests will stay at one property and then actually drive to another to go eat or gamble because of their preferences, right? So,
I have also seen that.
yeah, yeah. And sometimes I really don't think operators are aware or realizing that there is a significant leakage. And so that kind of goes back to the point of like, as an industry, we need to recalibrate and try to make sure that we're capturing all of that as much of the wallet that we can and making sure that we're giving them a reason to come and stay.
Well, one of the things that I've always loved about tribal game in the food and beverage on the nations is that it's original. It is often something that's like a one-off, like the buffet at Hamul.
Hmm.
That's the buffet at Hamul. There is no other Hamul buffet somewhere else, right? You want to experience the lobster buffet, you go to Hamul. That's it, right? And I think that's part of it. It's actually a unique experience that can only be found here. I've seen other properties opening up really specialized food experiences. I've seen a special restaurant with a really innovative menu and something different. And I think that's a part of the growing up of the industry to realize that you can offer something really special. And maybe because of the volume of people that are there, it can support it.
Yeah. Well, interesting. They have two locations actually that do a lobster buffet. One is in the Tony Gwynn. It was like a sports bar, and they have a kind of like a pop-up buffet. And then the Hamul 23, they're within the hotel, is reservation only with beautiful views of the valley, and it's totally a dining
There are
experience
two at the property at Hamul.
at
There's
the
two.
property. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So they're really pushing it, and
Hold on. You have to reserve for a buffet.
at Hamul 23, yes, yes. So it's that diversity and experience, right? We're trying to make sure that we're capturing the different type of customer. You still have those folks that probably just want to eat as much as they can, and I think others would love the idea of a
That's
lobster
me.
buffet, but a little bit more elegant
Or
with a
maybe that's not
view.
me.
Yeah. So and I think what they really caught on to there is the different customers that they have, right? And who they're attracting. Mary Cheeks out there, and her marketing team, are very, very on top of understanding their demographics and the customers that they're serving. Like you said, that catchment basin. Here we've got 4 or 5 casinos within 20 minutes of each other.
Yeah. And 4 million people or something. Like,
Exactly.
yeah, yes,
Exactly.
it's a big market. Yeah. So, what are two considerations that you would say are really important as a tribal casino is thinking about its food and beverage offer? Like two things, maybe something unusual. Give me something fun and something unusual. Like, what's something about it? You say, you should be thinking about this.
Yes. Okay. I'll start with a fun one because we were talking about robotics, and like you said, I think this is the year that robotics and those customer facing applications of robotics become accessible to really all casinos.
Really? So, this is the year you need to buy robots to run your restaurant. Is that how it works?
Yeah, and there's everything like anything at Spectrum, right? There's fully autonomous kitchens, which I think we're still further away from seeing those, in the wild. But there are little robots that will bust the plates from the table, bring the food out to the customer. We've all seen the roving security robots, but now, they attach, vacuums to the bottom of them so that you can clean your facility while you're keeping watch
Hold on, they've
of your
got
property.
vacuum cleaners on the bottom of the food service robot.
They've got vacuums, they've got mops, and there's others that will do sensors to just make sure that they're operating at peak efficiency, right? And we're starting to see, I think, that level of sophistication and analytics that we bring to gaming, we're starting to do that to the non-gaming. And
That's
so
awesome.
I think on the fun side, I think that's something that we should all be looking at. And I think more than anything, it's not that we want to replace people, it's that if you talk to F&B managers and even in gaming operations, people are still struggling to
Get enough
maintain.
people.
Yeah, yeah,
What?
get people to work.
Okay, tell me about the economics of a robot. I've seen the YouTube videos, but this is the first time I've had someone say this is the year that they can really do it. I've thought that actually. That was one of my predictions. This would be the year of robots. But tell me, what do the economics look like? Do these things work out? And are they economical? Like, tell me, what are they?
Absolutely. Well, the technology, it seems to have arrived, and we've had a lot of the components of these robots already, and it seems like it's starting to work all together. I think where it gets complicated is the model of how you acquire these robots. There are some companies that are doing like lease models, and they're pumping updates to the robots. You never really own them. There's some that do like where you have to pay like an hourly an hourly rate, just like you would a regular employee. And there's others that you can buy outright. So the fun part will be is seeing how much control properties exert over their robotics, right? Because if we're relying on third-party software that is kind of
Yeah,
getting all
yeah.
that data,
It's a lot of
it's a little
tech.
tricky. Yeah, yeah.
Right. So, what's something unusual you've seen? Unusual food or something unusual in a restaurant that worked? Like, oh, that's unusual and it worked, right?
Yeah,
How's that?
yeah. Uh, Now maybe, yeah. So my first thought was going out to the Pascuayaki Casino del Sol out in Arizona, and they take a lot of care to integrate local ingredients and traditional ingredients,
Really?
things like prickly pear and these different extracts from things that you typically don't see. And so as far as like curiosity and kind of exciting that were kind of weird at first, like, "Oh, I don't want to eat prickly pear. You think it's got thorns and
What
whatnot."
does
But
it? Did you do it?
no, no, no. They squeeze it and they take all the seeds out, and it's a
Does it taste
beautiful.
good? What's it? Sweet, sour, bitter? I
Yeah,
have no idea. Prickly pear.
it's kind of like dragon fruit, where it
Okay.
doesn't really taste like anything, but it's got this like sweet, pulpy flavor to it, a little florally, if you will. But and in Arizona, what I saw as well is a lot of these smaller properties were actually reaching out and using ingredients from local farms and some of those tribal grown farms, and that's one of the goals that we'd really like to see over the next couple of years with IGA is trying to help some of these tribally owned businesses, including tribal cattle farms and bison farms and whatnot, the fisheries in the Northwest. Indian country and tribal gaming, I should say, I think has the potential to amplify, use their purchasing power to, help lift some of
Well,
these food
it
operators.
creates something really appropriate and interesting as well. Like I said, this now you're talking about, I have to go and try the prickly pear. I'm not going to get it anywhere else, right? So it is also a sharing thing, right? You're sharing culture through food. Something really, really awesome about that. I think it's a great idea, actually. It's unique. It's awesome. It's a reason to visit something. You don't have to do it if you won't want to. Maybe a lot of people will just test it, but they'll certainly talk about it.
Yeah. I think there's a real opportunity. We haven't talked about like tribal food sovereignty and kind of the intersection between, our needs to have really good casino F&B, but also the potential to use that to support tribal food sovereignty initiatives, just like with data sovereignty and other tribal sovereignty, right? We're talking about the ability for tribes to have control over their food systems and restore their traditional food systems. And we're starting, like I said, we're starting to see tribes with cattle and bison and fisheries. And given that casinos purchase so much, there's a little bit of a hurdle that we have to go over to really increase that distribution. We had a meeting this week with a gentleman from Cisco, and he mentioned that this is something they've been trying to do for a long time. And
Cisco, the
Cisco
networking.
Foods. Oh yeah,
I
the other
don't know
Cisco.
Cisco. Sorry. Like when I think Cisco, I'm thinking about a network hub. So I'm
Yes.
clearly on the wrong planet. What
So
is
that's
Cisco?
So that's CISCO, that's the network providers. But then there's Cisco, SYSCO, and
Yes, right.
they're the largest food distributor for casinos and hospitals and hotels and pretty much the largest commercial food distributor. And the gentleman was the VP of Indian Gaming. He was talking about how he's met so many tribal brands and businesses that want to get into gaming and into tribal casinos, but there's an insurance hurdle that they have to get through. They have to basically hold Cisco harmless from any sort of product liability issues, salmonella or whatever, and so it requires them to have really high insurance.
Sorry, it's asking the nation to have a lot of insurance to provide food.
Right.
Wow.
And so, it seems like we're in this position. We have how many tribal insurance agencies that, come to these shows. And it seems like there is an opportunity here to create a specialized tribal insurance product that can help these small farms, these small tribal food companies get into distribution. And that opens up a whole nother line of discussion, which is using our gaming to support tribal food sovereignty and really all around tribal sovereignty, right? Like comes full circle, I think, with the food.
That is really, well, it feels really synergistic. You're creating tribal food sovereignty. If that's the first time I've heard that, it's amazing. I can understand it. I also just want to go and test some of this food, like this prickly pear. I have to go and test it. I don't know how I get some, but maybe at IGA we could have a prickly pear tasting. So at IGA, you have 6 sessions. What are they going to get out of them? What are some of the key things? Is there big speakers coming in? Food is not my normal space. I data about consumer behavior and the behavior I'm into, but the actual menu analysis, and I don't know. Tell me about what's happening. Why should people go and see it? What are they going to get? What are some of the key highlights?
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, with 6 sessions, there's so much that we could talk about. We kind of tried to hit some of the big themes here. What you'll get at these sessions, they're 30 minutes, so very compact, but we're still working to lock down all of our panelists. We have operators, of course. We have industry reps. We have some of the vendors that support food and beverage. What you'll get is a taste of what's happening in hospitality and casino food and beverage, and what we should be looking at this next year.
Yeah.
We're talking about our pipeline. What are we doing to ensure that we are nurturing our existing F&B employees, making sure that they stay for the long haul? What we're doing to ensure that we're not losing customers, we're not having customers leave the property to go to another one, right?
To eat.
To eat or to gamble.
Right.
And we're also talking about food sovereignty as one of the sessions, talking about ways that we can work with our casinos and work with our tribal farms, and the opportunity for tribes to form cooperatives and to reduce those costs.
Okay, hold on. So that's another, like, for those who don't know food, and I'm learning a lot today. This is awesome, Jesse. But how does a cooperative? I think it's self-explanatory, but I bet it's not. So what is a cooperative? Why should tribal nations? I don't even know what to do them.
Yeah, absolutely. Well,
Yeah.
you've seen purchasing co-ops for disposable goods and the soaps and the toilet paper, things like that. And there is an opportunity, I think, for tribes to pull together their purchasing power and go in on whether it's, for example,
All
cattle
right.
processing, purchasing proteins. I think we've seen this past year a lot of market volatility, between tariffs and just access, supply chain issues. So if we can pull together that the economies of scale, I think, really, really start to come together. Uh, and there's a little challenge there with the competition, given that, sometimes these casinos do compete. But, I think that's one of those hurdles that we have to overcome, because um, even though we are in competition, we are still working with the same customers, working with the same vendors. And I think a rising tide does lift all boats.
There's no doubt about that. It's one of the hardest questions. Like, how does a co-op work? And should you be competing even in the first place, right? Like, is it really competitive, or is it actually serving a market with enough to provide for all of it, right? Like, which way do you go? These are really hard questions.
Right, right, right. I think it puts the onus back on the operator, because again, that experience is that differentiator. So, we may all be pulling the same proteins and using the same vendors, but how we prepare them and what that customer experiences when they come to property, is ultimately going to make that difference. Like I said, we have customers that are staying at one property, driving 10 minutes to go gamble at another, and then eating on the way to the other properties. So it's as casinos, we're competing for that wallet share. And now that, gambling is ubiquitous, and that exclusivity for that brick and mortar gambling experience is kind of eroded, we really have to think about.
I would say the jury's still out on that one. There is a lot going on in that space, right? I think strategically, like really big picture, put yourself forward 10 years and it will be a different landscape, right? 10 years time.
Right.
I don't know if I want to try and predict it, but what we do today will define it, I think.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Whenever we talk about casino F&B, people remind me, well, none of this is possible without gaming. And there's no question, gaming built the model, hospitality future-proofs it, data integrates all of these different elements of the operation, and really tribal sovereignty strengthens all of that. The ability of tribes to be nimble and to be able to have that operational dexterity to pivot and reinvest in their F&B or programs for their employees. That's another one that we'll be talking about is
We're talking about employees, okay, and nutrition, food, and employees. Employee
and
dining, is that right?
employee
How
dining.
does it? Tell me about that.
Yeah. Well, there's the employee dining part, but there's also the strain, right? That our F&B employees have. There's a lot of risks and workers' comp issues within the industry.
Oh, I see.
And so again, just as we've spent all this time optimizing the floor for yield, right? Some operators have really kind of pivoted and are optimizing these other departments for yield, right? And everything from the physicality of the job to the inputs to what the customer ultimately goes through or that experience.
Yeah, I mean, I would have to say the human interactions are really important in how the team members are feeling really has an impact on that. So I can see the importance of it. And maybe there's also, just can you get enough resources to run your places, right?
Right. I as somebody that goes to restaurants, we want to have that interaction. But I think we're starting to see that the kiosk and improving that throughput for the customer is actually steering away from that human to human interaction.
Yeah, it's interesting, right?
Sam and Well took out, or rather, they put in a whole bunch of kiosks in their restaurants, and they actually saw orders go up and the amount that people were tipping went up.
The
Even
tip amount went up for a
even
kiosk order.
on a kiosk order, which I think is counterintuitive to,
Okay, unpack it. How could that be true? Like, I don't know if I would do that. So why would people do that?
that's a good question. I think Peter Arceo could probably help color that a little bit more, share some of the details on those customer interactions. But from what he's just kind of shared with the industry is that people are engaging with these kiosks and they are happy with the service that they're getting
And tipping them.
and tipping them. And I think they realize that that money is going back to the people that prepare it or whatnot. If I can quickly order on a kiosk and save the time in line and know that, I don't know. You're right though. I think very few people would want to tip a robot, right, or tip a kiosk.
Apparently they do. That right there, that's got me there. I'm going to have to think about that one. Wow. Okay, so you're involved with an online publication, or maybe two. Tell me what you're doing in the media space. I think that's sort of part of what you're doing here
Absolutely.
outside of IGA. Yeah. So tell me about that. Tell everyone share your story around that.
Thank you. So I started, like I said, with Victor Rocha on Pachanga.net, aggregating news, and after a while, after going to these shows, and saw that there was kind of a dearth of casino-focused F&B content, and I kept talking to people within F&B departments, and they would always share the frustrations in sourcing specialty ingredients and in working outside of their normal distribution, like their distributors like Cisco, and so I thought I would create a place where one, we can have a directory where, if I'm looking for prickly pears, say, I can go onto a directory and find purveyors of prickly pears. Oftentimes it's a little bit harder to do with our regular distributors. And so Food and Gaming has a directory component where businesses can list for free, and anybody in the industry can log in and reach out to these purveyors directly. But then the core part of the website is news. Like I said, I'm not doing so much like the foodie content, though it is a part of it. But we're really looking at the economics and the business of casino food and beverage.
See, there's a place where you can go, foodandgaming.com, and learn about the happenings in a space that actually we've now learned robots are big, kiosks are big, and people tip robots.
Yeah.
Well,
And absolutely. Yeah. Andrew, we haven't even started talking about Ozempic and the impact that GLP-1s are going to have on our casinos. And that is a bomb that's coming. And, we have to rethink the way we're designing our menus and the use of our
Seriously?
spaces. Well, absolutely.
Seriously, I've never thought about that.
Oh yeah.
Okay, hold on. Zempic and GLP-1, just for those that haven't heard of them, tell us what they are. Why would people take them, and what are they?
Yes, so we've heard all of the commercial names for them. There's different types, so Ozempic, Wegovy, Mounjaros, but they're medications that can be prescribed for diabetes, for weight loss, kind of have various other off-label uses. But we've all heard Ozempic, right, in the craze, and I think we're up to about 14 million people within the United States that are,
14 million people on
and
Ozempic.
and it's growing, right? Because we've just reduced the MSRP on these
Oh, they're
drugs.
cheap. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So what? Okay, so this is a weight loss, weight control drug is the main reason for it, or diabetes or something.
Hmm.
Is that just Ozempic? So that those that don't know, and it's
Yeah.
an injection, is that right? Or is it
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Okay, so it's an injection you take. Am I right about once a month or something, or is it more frequent?
Yeah, they have different formats. Now they actually just approved an oral GLP-1. They're essentially medications that you inject once a week, once a month. There's different types. But what they're finding now is ongoing use of these drugs are changing the way people eat, the way they interact kind of when they go out. Their dwell times are kind of extending because they're taking nibbles, right? They're not just going to eat. They're going to have that social experience.
If you take, so I've never taken Ozempic, so I don't know. So if you take Ozempic, there's an inclination to eat more slowly and eat less as well.
Well, so that's the societal pressure, right? Because what happens is you feel fuller more quickly when you're on these drugs. So, early on, as people were adopting them, there was kind of this guilt, right? When you would go out with your friends, like, you maybe don't order the entree, maybe you're ordering a side or an appetizer as your main meal, and you can't work through 3, 4 courses. So people are eating differently. They're eating smaller quantities. They're looking for more nutrient dense options. And when they're going there, because they can't eat as fast, food
They don't
becomes
want to eat as fast, right? It's not
right.
that you can't. I guess you could. I don't know.
My understanding is that you can't, that you get stomach discomfort.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
And so could you imagine, you're out with your friends and whether you're all on GLP-1s or just the flow of that
yeah, it's
dining
different.
experience changes, right?
I
And
have
then
never thought of that. That is
yeah.
so there's articles about this on the website, gaming,
Yeah, so
foodandgaming.com.
I've been working on a white paper here on this issue and trying to get data and show how this is changing. Consumer packaged goods and consumer foods that you find in the store are now coming with GLP-1 labels saying that they're GLP-1 friendly foods. We're seeing beverage.
Wait. Okay,
Yeah.
so what does that mean? It means it's smaller nibbles. What does it mean? Explain. What
Often
is a
for packaged
GLP-1 friendly food? I'm sorry, I don't know.
Yeah, no, totally. I could go on this forever. Well, so packet on the packaged food side, you're usually seeing a lower carb, higher protein option in terms of
Right.
like those packaged goods. Just generally overall lower sugar, lower carbs, more nutrient dense.
It just sounds healthier.
Right. Well, and not only are GLP-1 users not eating as much, they also don't drink, and so we need to
Oh wait.
read.
Why don't they drink? You telling me 14% of North America doesn't drink because of GLP-1?
Well,
No
it
alcohol?
counters the effect of the drug. So you'll find that regular users of GLP-1s don't drink. And they're still doing studies on this because what they're finding is that it actually dampens the reward pathways within the brain. So people are less excited about gambling, less excited about drinking, right? It's a generation of people that as an industry, like we haven't really even talked about. But they're
That
here,
is
they're at our property,
amazing.
and they're growing. And even if it's not our players, it's our players' wives, it's the
Well,
mother-in-laws, it's the kids.
probably the players. 10%. And so okay, so this is an enormous change. Like a drug that makes you not want to eat much, have more nutritious food, and not drink.
Yeah,
This is going to change if it's going to
absolutely.
change the face of America.
I've been toying with the title. It's like how do you run a casino restaurant when people are not gambling and they're eating less, right? You know,
But you don't. I'm sorry.
So that's what, is in front of us. And kind of my goal with food and beverage is to kind of put all this stuff on put a spotlight on all this, because the restaurant industry is aware of these things, and for some reason
Well,
there's
look,
some
hold
separation
on, let me go
between.
the other way. These
Yeah.
people are also healthier. Maybe they are going to live longer, so they're going to be doing social entertainment for longer. It's going to extend the lifespan of Americans by a lot, right? It could be years of added lifespan. So it is going to have an effect in that way as well.
Absolutely. And then comes the question about the casino design, right? The makeup and layout of our casinos really hasn't changed in the past 40, 50 years, but you talk about that really large boom of elderly people that are coming, right? So we have the largest growing aging population in the world. If you've ever gone to a casino, of course, the chairs are heavy. If you're in a wheelchair or a walker, the carpet is extra friction for the
We're getting
walkers.
off food now,
Yeah,
but I
yeah,
agree
yeah,
with you,
yeah, yeah.
Roy.
But but so yeah, you're right.
You
Between
think about
aging,
a lot of stuff. I can see that, Jesse. That's
well,
awesome.
it all ties back to the customer experience,
Right.
and that, if we don't look at all the non-gaming elements of our property, there's going to be inconsistencies in that customer experience, and uh, you know, as we're getting to a more mature gaming market, more integrated resorts, that's going to be that differentiation between
So
our
what do
properties.
you have planned after IGA? What's next? Like next IGA? I don't know. What's
Yeah, yeah. My goal would be to bring this to all of the big shows and help
G2E
G2E,
maybe?
G2E.
Wow.
I started putting the seeds last year, and I'm kind of trying to understand why F&B went away from these shows. Because about 10, 15 years ago, F&B was a big part of these shows. There was an F&B track, and there was areas on the trade show floor, and so just understanding like why we moved away, and what we can do this time to make sure that there's more of a staying power to the F&B content, that we can nurture this part of the industry.
Yeah, you've got an incredibly interesting view of this. And GLP, I didn't even. I mean, I've never heard that. And to take 15% of the population, press the desire for drinking alcohol and eating excessive quantities of food, that is unprecedented. That's a massive societal change.
And they're finding it's dampening the excitement for gambling. So
But
it has the potential to help with like gambling addiction and curbing those impulsive pathways. And so they're still doing that
this is
research,
a
and like,
massive change. It's one drug. God.
yeah,
We could do a whole
absolutely,
session on this one. Yeah, oh my goodness.
absolutely.
All
Yeah.
right. Is there anything else that you'd like to bring up today? I think what a great session. And also, where can people get a hold of you? Are you on LinkedIn? Sounds like foodandgaming.com is a great place, but is there a better way?
Absolutely. Yes. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on me at foodandgaming.com is my email. That's like me at food and gaming. It's for managing editor. Victor pointed it out. He goes, "Oh, it's me at food and gaming." No, it's such a long domain. I was trying to shorten my email, but my email is M as in Mary, E as in elephant at food and gaming, and easy to find on LinkedIn. And yeah, anything, if anybody wants to talk about what they're doing or has questions, the website's there as a resource. And if I were to share kind of like a takeaway, or what my real goal in all this is to bring the industry together, bring these different departments to the table, and get us to rethink.
Strength in numbers.
Yeah, yeah.
There really is. Yeah.
And come visit us at the Indian Gaming Association trade show. It's going to be March 30th through April 2nd. Uh, F&B Showcase is going to be on the trade show floor April 2nd between 10:30 and 2. My understanding it's going to be on the Tribal Leaders Lounge, but that should be confirmed here within this next week as those panelists and all that gets confirmed. We'll also have QCI on one of our sessions, and I think we're working to try to get you on one of these as
Oh,
well.
that's
Yeah,
that's great. Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah. Jesse, it's been really amazing learning from you today and hearing about this incredibly important part of the resort and some of the what are absolutely massive sea changes that it's bringing. It's great. Thank you. I'd certainly love to have you back sometime. Maybe we could talk again. That would be amazing.
Thank you. Absolutely. Thank you for having me here. And maybe once we put the final touches on the GLP-1 white paper, I'd love to get that back in touch.
That will be fun. It is going to be contentious. Okay, so I'd love to do that. Well, this is Andrew Cardno Online. I've had a great session here with Jesse Robles, and I think that there was a lot of takeaways, really valuable. Great work you're doing, Jesse. It's just
Thank you.
amazing. Thank you.
Likewise. Thank you so much. And it's again an honor to be on the show. And you've done so much for this industry and to get us to modernize and really compete and ensure that gaming continues to be that economic driver for Indian country. So thank you, and thank you for all the work that you've done for our industry.
Well, thank you. I'm proud to be a partner with Indian Country.
Okay. Well, we'll see you at IGA in a couple weeks,
Okay.
and hopefully the rest of the
Hope
show.
to see everyone else there as well.
Absolutely. We'll see you guys there. Thank you.